A disgusting spectacle by the Democrats on this committee. I'm telling you, folks, it's just all about power, all about party, all about protecting this administration, protecting this failed Secretary of State, and that's exactly what she was and is. And to watch people say, oh, she's a masterful performance. Masterful performance. She's been caught in a number of lies, which is why I say this transcript should be sent over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation by Trey Gowdy when they're done, so they can at least begin investigating it. I don't know that they've interviewed her, but they've interviewed her staff. Let's go back to cut 7. Go.
The American people want to know why. Why didn't you tell the American people exactly what you told the Egyptian Prime Minister?
Well, I think if you look at the statement that I made, I clearly said that it was an attack, and I also said that there were some who tried to justify it on the basis of the video, Congressman.
Yeah, right. One more, cut 8, go.
So you can't be square with the American people. You can tell your family it's a terrorist attack, but not the American people. You can tell the president of Libya it's a terrorist attack, but not the American people. And you can tell the Egyptian Prime Minister it's a terrorist attack, but you can't tell your own people the truth. Madam Secretary, Americans can live with the fact that good people sometimes give their lives for this country. They don't like it. They mourn for those families. They pray for those families, but they can live with it. But what they can't take, what they can't live with, is when their government's not square with them.
Because it was a big cover-up to protect Obama and the line that they kept putting out that Al-Qaeda's on the run. The Republicans lied to take the House. They lied to take the Senate. Obama lied to get elected and reelected. This is why the American people have had enough. We've had enough. And no amount of surrogates for Democrats and Republicans in Washington, D.C., whether they're on television, on cable shows, on network shows, whether they're in broadcast radio, whether they have websites and blog sites, it doesn't matter. The American people have had enough because Washington stinks to high heaven. I'm going to tell you what, this Elijah Cummings guy, he was put there as a plant. He was put there to disrupt as much as he possibly can. All this guy does is throw turds in the swimming pool. And he's a clown, an absolute clown. And he's putting on a performance. And he's an absolute disgrace. It's an amazing thing how the conservatives in the House are attacked by Republicans, but Elijah Cummings, they don't talk about Elijah Cummings, who was absolutely awful. And he was put on that committee by Nancy Pelosi and obviously given directions. Cover up, obstruct, deceive, and that's all he's about. And you won't see any of the media outlets condemn that man either, because he's there for one reason, to cheerlead and to obstruct. I would play more of these clips. Maybe I'll play one or two more. But you get the gist of this. Let me play this Hillary Clinton line. You're not going to believe this, but cut 14, Mr. Producer. Go.
So my question is, this was a very important mission in 2011. You sent Chris Stevens there.
By the way, let's stop right there. This Susan Brooks, I don't know if she's a moderate, a liberal, or conservative Republican, but in terms of this committee, the sharpness of her questions, she's very good. I don't know if she's a former prosecutor or what, but she's very good. Go ahead.
Compound is attacked in 2012. What kind of culture was created in the State Department that your folks couldn't tell you in an email about a bomb in April of 2012?
Well, Congresswoman, I did not conduct most of the business that I did on behalf of our country on email. I conducted it in meetings. I read massive amounts of memos, great deal of classified information. I made a lot of secure phone calls. I was in and out of the White House all the time. There were a lot of things that happened that I was aware of and that I was reacting to. If you were to be in my office in the State Department, I didn't have a computer. I did not do.
Whoa. She didn't have a computer. Now, this is what the liberals do. Tell you a little story. Many years ago, the legal organization I run, Landmark Legal Foundation, sued the Environmental Protection Agency under a Freedom of Information Act inquiry They dragged their feet. We wanted access to information demonstrating what regulations they were working on and planned to release prior to the Democrats leaving office. This case was Bill Clinton. The administrator of the EPA was the infamous Carol Browner. Carol Browner said she didn't use her computer in the office. You see, ladies and gentlemen, here we have these women that talk about equal rights. They pretend to be the leading feminists in the country. They can do whatever men can do, and yet they fall back to this issue. During her deposition, Carol Browner was saying the most bizarre things, such as, when she first walked into the office of the administrator of the EPA, she needed to clean the sink because it was dirty, so she proceeded to clean the sink and do other such errands around the office, but she was never very technologically, advanced or involved or anything of the sort. She's a woman. My jaw almost dropped. Absolutely stunning. Now we have Hillary Clinton, the Secretary of State. We have all these ambassadors all over the world. And not just ambassadors, just people all over the world who will need to communicate with her, right? Now, there's many ways to communicate, but in this day and time, not to have a computer on your desk so people can communicate with you directly and quickly from any part of the world, that's intentional. Hillary Clinton was already preparing a defense against any attacks on her, any potential criminality that may have been committed by her or under her, which is why the server was at home, which is why she didn't have a computer on her desk, because she's been through this cover-up stuff before. Now I'm going to add another point. This Benghazi Select Committee, this Special Investigative Committee, do you know who dragged his feet in the appointment of this committee? John Boehner. There were 4, 5, 6 other committees investigating this, tripping over themselves. Overlap, waste of resources, waste of time, the destruction of evidence. Witnesses disappearing over time, maybe passing out, dying rather, maybe just not around, that sort of thing. John Boehner dragged his feet on commissioning this committee because he didn't want it to be a political liability. Did you know that? This committee, I believe, and I will disagree with many, under the circumstances has done a decent job. What else can it do? When the law enforcement apparatus is controlled by Obama and the executive branch and has been completely corrupted at the highest levels. Not the gumshoes, not the men and women who work hard every day. I'm talking about their leaders, quote unquote, the civilian leadership appointed by Obama, completely corrupted. What else can the committee do? They can't prosecute people on their own. They can't throw them in jail. I've been a critic of Gowdy over the years. They've demonstrated some very important facts and have brought them to the table, and the media won't care. You'll hear media reports even at the top of the hour, whatever news you're listening to. You will not hear that Hillary Clinton lied repeatedly about the video, as she lied repeatedly about classified information. Instead, you're going to hear, and I heard some of this before I came on the program, she's doing a hell of a job. You're hearing this from Republican commenters. Oh, she's doing a hell of a job. These people are fools. Hell of a job. She's giving answers by filibustering. Some of her answers don't even respond to the questions. That's what we mean. She's doing a spectacular job. No, she's not. She looks like a fool. She surely does. And yet Hillary Clinton did receive emails. Maybe not on her computer at her desk at the State Department because she didn't have a computer on her desk. That's what she said. But elsewhere, she did have a computer and she did get emails. Let's take it up where we left off. Go ahead.
Majority of my work on email, and I bet there's a lot of Sid Blumenthal's emails in there from 2011, too.
Oh, Sid Blumenthal had a lot of emails. Who's Sid Blumenthal? Remember him from the past? We've talked about him, too. This is a diabolical left-wing hack. A diabolical left-wing hack even the Obama administration would not give a government job to. So he didn't have a real government job, and yet he was still working fairly closely with Hillary Clinton, and she would take his emails on some computer, but the ambassador to Libya couldn't get a hold of her. His emails she never saw. Cut 15, go.
Sid Blumenthal was not my advisor, official or unofficial, about Libya. He was not involved in any of the meetings, conversations, other efforts to obtain information in order to act on it. On occasion, I did forward what he sent me to make sure that it was in the mix. So if it was useful, it could be put to use. And I believe in response to the email you pointed out originally from Ambassador Stevens, he actually said it rang true and it was worth looking into. So I think it's important that we separate out the fact that Mr. Blumenthal was not my advisor.
Why were you taking all these emails from Sidney Blumenthal on your computer? Was it an official computer, your home computer? Why were you taking all these emails from Sidney Blumenthal and you couldn't get emails from the ambassador? Or even if you did, you didn't read them? It's a question I have. You know, the former governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell, is going to prison unless the Supreme Court reverses what took place in his case. And his case adds up to basically this. His wife wanted him to meet with a businessman who was wheeling and dealing and gave some gifts that were actually, I believe, legal under Virginia law, to the family. So McDonnell passes this along, and there's a meeting set up, I believe, and nothing happens of the meeting. I'm giving you the basics. And yet he's prosecuted. He's charged and he's prosecuted for, in essence, quid pro quo. The family got some benefits, and a meeting was set up. I wonder if that same United States attorney is investigating Hillary Clinton and Sidney Blumenthal and all those emails where Sidney Blumenthal was really looking for business, looking for something. What's he just given his time freely to Hillary Clinton, giving her advice about Libya? Well, he wasn't a formal advisor or an otherwise a voluntary advisor. And what the hell was he? Yeah, we know what he was doing. He was trying to make a deal. But in any event, you see, justice isn't equal, is it? It's one way for Democrats and another way for Republicans.